All right, let's look at how we can explore dividing decimals with models. So if you remember from our last class, we're going to want this app down here in my landing dock, which is that Number Pieces app. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Go ahead and clear my page. And so remember, with this app, the thing that I really like about it is we have different choices. So we can choose to use all yellow, we can choose to use the different colors, we can write on it. And I'm going to show you a couple other features that we can use with this particular app. So let's first just think about a problem that we could use our models to kind of explore. So what if I had 2 and 75/100ths, and I wanted to put it into groups of 25/100ths. So this is kind of like the opening problem from our work today, where I'd have like $2.75, and I want to know how many quarters I have. As we're kind of looking through this, just kind of thinking about what are we starting with. In this case, we're doing measurement division because I'm measuring out groups of a certain size instead of putting them into a certain number of groups. So I'm going to start with my dividend, which is 2 and 75/100ths. So I'm going to take out what I need. Seven. All right. So I'm going to count out groups of 25/100ths to start. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with kind of the more obvious one. Oops. And I'm just going to start dragging down 2/10ths and then 5/100ths. So that's going to be my first group. Now, if you notice, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I can, if I wanted to, start to drag down my other tenths and at least start those in groups of 2. But then we have these bigger pieces. So here's a really cool feature about this app, is I can pick, for example, if I pick this whole, I can hit this button down here in the corner, and it's going to break up. And if you notice, now they turn green because now they're each in tenths. And then I can also then break them up further and make them into those 100th pieces. And now I can just start to count out my groups of 5. And the way we can do this with models is we just basically keep counting out and making our groups until we can't anymore. So far I have 3 groups. I'm going to drag down another 2. Go ahead and take this one, and I'm going to break that up. So it's kind of like just exchanging, right? If I go and then I start to notice a pattern that it takes 3/10ths to make 2 groups, because, or not 3, it takes 5/10ths to make 2 groups, because 2/10ths for each group, and then I have to break up the 5th one into our 100ths. So here you can see I have 5 left, so that's going to be another 2 groups, and then I'm going to take this last one and break it up. All right. In this case, I had no leftover pieces. So now I'm just looking at how many groups did I make. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 from the one I circled before, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 2 and 75 hundredths divided into groups of 25 hundredths gives me an answer of 11 full groups. So that's kind of how we can do that when we're measuring out the size of the group. If you remember, we can also measure out a certain number of groups. So I could also start with, say, 1, and we'll say 5/10, and I want to split this into 3 equal groups. So what I might do to model this one is I might actually kind of create a spot. So here's group 1, here's group 2, and here's group 3, and then I'm just going to start measuring them out. So I'm going to go and break up what I can, and then I'm going to go ahead and exchange my 1 for tenths. And just kind of keep going until I have nothing left. So this time we used all of our pieces again, so now I'm going to look at the size of a group. So when I did this, I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths per group. So 1 and 5/10 divided by 3, or into 3 equal groups, is equal to an answer of 5/10, because that becomes the size of our group. So this kind of just gives you a basic idea of how we're going to explore our division of decimals with blocks. So go ahead and use this app and complete the attached worksheet.